In this session, I'm going to discuss how to select checkbox and radio button in Selenium WebDriver. So suppose you have radio button and checkbox. So how we can select? So for that, we have one method in Selenium WebDriver is selected method. Is selected method checks if element is selected on the web page or not. So this method returns true or false. If the element is selected on the web page, then this method return true. Otherwise, it will return false. So let's now we try to write one script. Now we open this URL on the web page and we try to implement this script. So you can check here we have opened this URL. So here we have checkbox. You can check here checkbox. Here we have my favorite color. Here you need to select any of this color. You can select any one of this color. So I want to verify whether selected checkbox is checked or not checked. I want to check whether particular checkbox is checked or not checked. So let's now we try to implement. So I'm going to write a script to verify whether selected element is checked or not checked on the web page. Okay, which element suppose? Let's now open the browser. Let's now we inspect that element. So I want to inspect that web element, right click, go to the inspect. And here you can check here. Here we have div element. Now again we can inspect. So right click and click on inspect. Now you can check here. So I need to select which element. I want to select that element, suppose this red element. I want to select this checkbox. Which checkbox? This checkbox. So you can check input name equal to color and type equal to checkbox and value equal to red. So which element I want to select? You can check here. All this input element having the same name attribute color. But I need to select that input element whose name value is color, but value attribute value is equal to red. I need to select that checkbox. So I need to write a XPath. We try to write an XPath to select that particular checkbox. So I'm writing / input and then square bracket. And now here name attribute equal to color. You can check it at the name attribute value equal to color. It's selecting how many checkbox. It will selecting. You can just 6 elements are selected. You can check these are 6 elements are selected. But I need to select which particular checkbox, red checkbox. So we can write here one more combination or condition here. We can say and we can use and at the rate value attribute value equal to or red. Now if you enter, you can check and now you are able to select this particular checkbox. So this is the X path to selecting which checkbox, red checkbox. Let's open Eclipse IDE, go to the SRC test Java under testing package. Let's now we create one more class. I'm going to create one more class. Here we write a test class checkbox selector the checkbox checked tester class. I have given the class name like checkbox check tester. Here we create one tester class. Inside this tester class, I'm going to define test method. Now we're going to define test method. So public void checkbox test. I'm going to define this method. Now this method we have need to annotate using @test annotation. Now we have annotate using @test annotation. Now this class needs to extend which class? Base test class. So we need to extend base test class. Now once base test class we have extended, Now, first of all, we need to find out that web element, which web element? Checkbox element. So how we can find WebDriver? Using WebDriver dot find WebDriver dot find element by dot. We are using XPath selector, XPath. Now here we pass the XPath. So let's now we copy the XPath from here. You can copy this XPath, copy, and now here you can pass that XPath. Now it written one web element. Web element. Web element. So let's now I give the name like as a red checkbox. Red checkbox. So I am able to find out which checkbox, red checkbox. Now we need to check before going to select. We need to check whether checkbox is enabled or not. Because you can check once checkbox is enabled. If checkbox is enabled, then we can select yes or no. So here I'm going to check first of all if it is enabled. If it is enabled before selecting it. So how we can check if here we write down condition if red checkbox dot here we have condition is enabled. Under is this enable if checkbox is enabled. Then I am going to verify whether checkbox is enabled or not. First of all, system.out.println. I'm writing a red checkbox is enabled. Now it written what written. You can check here. So red checkbox dot is enabled. I'm calling is enabled. If checkbox is enabled, then now we want to select the checkbox. So we want to select the checkbox means we want to click. We want to perform which type of operation? We want to perform click operation here. Which operation? Click operation. If you want to select this checkbox, it means you need to perform click operation with that element. So let's here, since checkbox is enabled, now therefore click it. So red checkbox dot we need to perform click action. Now we need to perform click action. Now, after that, we can check if checkbox is selected or not selected. So if we want to check yes, no, after click, you want to check yes, no, if checkbox is selected or not. So now here we can check, now check that it is selected or not. So here I'm going to check whether checkbox is selected. How we can check? If you want to check whether particular checkbox, the radio button is selected on the web page or not. So here on the red checkbox, we need to call is selected method. Is selected method return true whether this element is selected or not. If this element is selected, then return true, otherwise return false. Now here we can write a statement here system.out.println red checkbox is selected. Now we are written plus red checkbox dot is selected. Else red box is not selected. Now after that, now once if condition is false, let's check here. Okay, so now if condition is false, now here suppose if checkbox is not enabled, so we can say else Here we can write a conditions system.out.println and can say a red checkbox is not enabled. Now return a red checkbox dot is enabled. Okay, now you can save and run this script. Let's now we try to run this script. So let's now we run this script. Scroll down. Let's now we click here run. Now we try to run this script. Now you can check your application is started. Now you can check here your checkbox is checked. Now you can check here. Let's now check output. Yes, you got your test case is pass. Okay, so now here we have made a you change the URL in configuration.properties file also. Now your checkbox is checked. So now you can check here. If you want to check whether your checkbox element is selected or not selected, before going to verify, if you want to select, you need to perform click action on that element. First perform the click action, but before going to perform click action on that checkbox, we need to verify if checkbox is enabled, then only we need to perform click action. Otherwise, we don't need to perform click action. So here first we verify whether checkbox is enabled. If it is enabled, then we perform click action. Once we perform click action, once we have clicked the checkbox, now you can check checkbox whether checkbox is selected or not selected. Using is selected method, we can check whether web element on the web page is selected or not selected. Similar, we can select radio button also. So here you can check here, there is a radio button here. So if you want to verify whether radio button is selected or not selected, we can use is selected method. Similar. So let's now we open the radio button and we verify whether particular radio button is selected or not selected. So let's now we try to open a new URL. Let's now we try to open new URL on the web page. Let's we try to open. So here I'm going to give one new URL on a web page. Just like here we have a checkbox. Similar we can have radio button. And now we need to verify whether radio button is selected or not selected. Let's now we try to open new URL here. So you can check here. Here we have radio button. These are radio buttons. So now we need to verify whether radio button is selected or not. I want to check whether red radio button is selected on the web page or not. So what we need to do, I need to go first of all configuration.properties file, and here we need to change the URL first of all. So let's here we change the URL value. So test URL equal. Now we give the test URL. Let's save it. Now we create one more class, tester class. Let's now we copy this tester class and here I give the in place of checkbox, just write down radio button. Radio button checked tester. Now finish it, open that, and here we can write radio check tester. Now go to the web page and now we need to find out this web element. So right click on web page, you can click on inspect, and now which web element we want to find, I want to find this web element. So you can check here input type equal to radio and name equal to red and value equal to red. So I need to locate which element, I need to locate that red radio button. Yeah, anyway, yellow, yes, you can check. Suppose I want to locate yellow. If you want to locate yellow, you can check here, go to the yellow. Okay, again select, go to the which element, yellow element. Let's now we select that is a yellow. So now you can check here. What the name attribute? Yellow. What the type attribute? Radio. So you can select using name attribute. Let's here we have to give the name attribute value. Name attribute value equal to yellow. So you can check here one radio button is set. Let's now first of all we locate the radio button and then we perform click action on that radio button. So let's now we remove this all script. Let's we remove all this script. So this is our tester method. Now here first of all what we need to locate radio button. We need to locate radio button. How we can locate using WebDriver? WebDriver dot find element by dot XPath. Now we need to pass the XPath. So this is the X. Copy the XPath here from here. And now you can pass here XPath. So this is the XPath. Now what return? It will return web element. So let's now we store in one variable web element. Okay, sorry, my screen is not visual, I hope. Okay, let's check here. Okay, check here. So let me again rewrite. Yeah, you can check here. So I have written this test method. Now we are trying to find web element. I'm trying to find here using web element. Okay, so web element. Which web element? Yellow web element. So here we locate the which element? We have located the yellow radio button. So once we locate, then now what we need to, if you want to select that radio button, then you need to perform which action? Click on radio button. Yes, no, you need to perform click action on radio button. Click yellow to select. So here we write down yellow dot click. We need to perform click action. And then you can say which yellow button is selected. Yellow radio button, yellow is selected. Let's write down selected. And then once yellow button is selected, which button is selected? Yellow button is selected. You can write, you can check it. Here you're writing two line of code for this. In place of both line, you can write one line also. You can locate an web element and you can perform click action on that element in one line also. You can write this line of code into one line of code. How you can write? You can check it. You can remove this line and now you can remove this line also. You can check it. Now this line what return? It will return web element. On that web element, which action I want to perform? Click action. Now here you are locating and clicking on that web element. Now which button you have located? Here we have located yellow radio button. Similar, you can locate red button also, or another button also. Suppose I want to locate a red button. Same way you can write the code, locate which button? Locate red button. Let's write down this comment also. So here we can write down this comment. So locate radio button, click perform, click on which radio button? Red radio button. So input type equal to here, just we need to change the name of this radio button. I want to select which radio button? I want to select that radio button who's having name value as a red. And then you can perform click action. So in this way, you can select radio button also. So here we have selected how many radio button? Two radio button. So let's now we write down this statement also. Here, which radio button I'm selecting? Radio button we have selected. So first we have selected, you can check here, which yellow, and then we are selecting which one? Red. Let's run this and check here. If you run this and now you can check here output. Now it's launching the browser. Now you can check here. Browser is opening. Now you can check it. First, which select radio button is selected. You can radio. You can check it. The red, and you can check red and yellow. Both are radio button are selected. So now you can read here. Radio button yellow is selected. 2 times I've written radio button red is selected. I've written 2 times here. Code, I think. Yeah, I've written 2 times. I record 1 time only. Okay, it's fine. So in this way, we can select element. How we can select radio button? How we can select checkbox? So if you want to check yes, no, checkbox the radio button. So remember this point. First of all, what we need to do? First of all, you need to perform click action, and further you need to verify. You can check using is selected method whether particular checkbox the radio button is selected or not selected. I hope it's clear. Thank you.